But there's one other thing, Bud, and I'm so glad you brought it up. Oh my God. I believe that he connects that God let him live for a reason. When you believe that, whether it's true or not, it don't matter. When you believe that God left you here for a reason, you are powerful. You are different. You are really almost impervious to the kinds of things that break other people down, that scare other people, that erode other people when they're in the pressure chamber. Because you believe that God prepared you for this, put you there for this, wants you there for this. You believe that. And how the heck can you get beat when you got God on your side? You can't. You can't. And I don't want people to go nuts and say, Teddy, you're invoking. No, I'm invoking what is right there to invoke. Really. That when that happened, he believed that he was spared. He was chosen. And when you believe that, and you take that in this case, he's a fighter, you take that into the ring with you, you feel like you're going in there with something that someone else don't have.
That's deep. That's powerful stuff. And I think that's where you're the best, and we go to a different layer. We go below the surface. And I don't know if we get that elsewhere, of that kind of conversation and talk.
Can he follow up?
Still a lot of round left.
Can he follow up? Still a lot of round left.
Hey everyone, what's up? This fight, it just really, even though we're covering the sport of boxing, this is widespread worldwide. There's a lot of people that are more confused than ever before, especially since I've been alive on Earth. You got people who believe in such radical type of ideas today that they're willing to kill people just because they're offended by someone's opinion. This is what happened to Charlie Kirk. Of course, you had a smear campaign on Charlie Kirk as well. It's an affirmation society today. It's not about objective truth anymore. And this is what these people are trying to attack. They're trying to always cancel and attack the truth and discredit the truth. You understand? And I've been telling people this phenomenon is spiritual. It's not secular. Do you understand? It's secular only in the fact that you get to see the results with your eyes, with your senses, if you can get past seeing through your emotions and things like that. But this is actually a spiritual war. And boxing is just a minute part of this whole, what can I say, fight that's going on right now, this war that's going on right now. And, but still they use the same tactics. You'll see the TV. It doesn't matter if it's politics. It doesn't matter if it's an actor, actress. It doesn't matter if it's someone in government. It doesn't matter if it's a guy who stabs a kid at a football game. The TV is going to try to manipulate your perception, your reality, and your emotions, with what actually, trying to oppose what actually occurred. The guy who stabbed the kid at the football game, for example, the media made you sympathize towards the guy who actually did the killing, you understand, more so than the person that was killed. And, there's plenty of tactics how they use this, how they're able to flip the script most of the time, but typically it's always having to deal with emotionalism. This is how they know they can manipulate you guys. And then, it's never about the objective truth. The truth is what they're trying to cancel out today. And I always say this on this channel. But they'll present a case for the side of the guy who did the stabbing, and they'll feed you a bunch of content where, it's more sympathetic towards the guy who did the stabbing. And they'll tell you that the kid was racist. He was being heckled, at the football game. And, they try to justify what's pretty much unjustifiable. And we've seen this recently with Charlie Kirk as well. Same thing. They try to paint Charlie Kirk as a racist and try to get you guys on that cause due to your emotions. And a lot of you, majority of people, they just don't, do their research. Charlie Kirk was not Well, listen, everybody's racist. Let's just cut the crap. But Charlie Kirk was not this white supremacist guy. You understand? Charlie Kirk was a guy who was in the trenches. This is how he even got killed. You understand? He put himself out there. You know what I'm saying? And he was trying to warn everybody what's actually going on, you know, what they're trying to achieve today. And I use the word they, but it's really just the enemy. It's Satan, you know, at the end of the day. And you guys are going to call me the crazy one, you know. But it is what it is, again. But this is just how they always play with your minds and emotions and whatever else. And they're able to manipulate a lot of people, even their perception, when you can even show these people evidence and proof. And these people will still deny evidence and proof. And they'll, again, just like the title of this video, they'll still more than likely choose delusion and falsehood over the truth at the end of the day. When you read the Bible, this is also spoken of as well. You know, people will deny the truth. Read Romans 1. It's a very good chapter for you guys. And understand that it was written pretty much 2,000 years ago. You understand? Paul's able to explain precisely what's going on today. You know, and people, they'll still try to, you know, denigrate and deny the word of God, which is laughable to me at this point. But I will say that I too was a disbeliever, you know, and I too thought it was cool to be an atheist and things like that. But concerning boxing, it's easy to put this under a microscope when we're covering boxing. You guys are choosing delusion. Do you understand? You can't handle the truth, so you have to invent your own reality. And your reality, it's funny because I'm going to ask you this question. Did you guys claim that Madrimov was robbed versus Crawford? So Madrimov was the first guy to actually beat Crawford. You understand? And today you're claiming that, you know, it was a close fight between Crawford and Canelo. You know, Crawford was missing a lot of punches. The punch stats were close. The judges have it 7-5. You know, Canelo doesn't agree with you guys, which I find to be odd. You know, by your guys' reality, Canelo should be willing and ready and already have this rematch signed by now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't even be a question, according to you clowns, how you're trying to invert reality to, again, cope with it. You understand? You're claiming things that didn't occur. A guy like Lennox Lewis, again, said, what 5 rounds could you give to Canelo Alvarez? There are a lot of sane people. This is just for the people who, again, I think are easily deceived and want to be deceived, to be honest with you. Again, I think your guys' conclusions reflect more on you than it does even on a Canelo Alvarez at the end of the day. But again, you know, who had the better performance versus Terence Crawford? Was it Canelo or was it Madrimov? You know, I really want you guys to answer that question. But this is just what I'm saying. This is a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual war that we're seeing today. And there are plenty of people, they can't even tell what reality is today. They don't even know what's real today. You have AI, and that's just going to make things worse, you know, as time goes on. But it's just people, a lot of you are too far gone at this point. Some of you, you know, well, majority of people, I will say that, you know, you guys choose to stay ignorant. You choose to play dumb. Some of you, you're only doing this to save face. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. You know, I have respect for people who don't jump fences, you know, don't stand on fences and jump from side to side, you know. So I do commend those type of individuals that are still sticking to their side and sticking to their guns. I actually have respect for those people more so than people would think on this channel. It lets me know you're not a wishy-washy little flip-flopper, you know what I'm saying? People, oftentimes, they don't like to put their opinion down, and they don't like to stand on what they believe in, you know. But this just further exemplifies the fact that people still to this day, again, and it's even written in the Bible, this is only going to get worse, you know, they're going to choose a delusion. And I keep telling you guys time and time again, you know, the world is just grooming you to make the wrong choice. You know, all facets. It's not just boxing. This is just, again, we can put the microscope on this situation pretty easily. You know, not even Canelo agrees with you guys. Do you understand? Madrimov didn't believe that he beat Terence Crawford. You understand? He didn't. and he was even telling you guys things that he punched harder than Ortiz. You guys saw that this ended up being the truth on September 13th, by the way. Crawford had not only Canelo hurt in there at times, I believed he could have got the knockout. I think a big factor to why that really put a cog in him getting the stoppage and the KO was the 9th round. You saw the 9th round when he started truly obliterating Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? And then I think the headbutt, if that wouldn't have occurred, Bud would have definitely got that stoppage. You know what I'm saying? But Canelo also wanted to quit during that fight. I showed you guys just one clip from a jab, but also in that same round, it was round 11, you're going to see Crawford, he was also landing combinations. You could just see it in Canelo's body language and things like that, where Canelo was demoralized, he was discouraged, and he did not want to be there, guys. You can see it in the body language. So not even Canelo's body language supports what you guys are trying to convince yourselves is reality today. You know what I'm saying? And just like Teddy Atlas, there are those who have eyes to see and, ears to hear and whatever else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that Teddy Atlas brought this point up because it's a very important point. The only thing I disagree with is, he says, I think Crawford, believes, God played a part. I know that Crawford knows that God played a part in this. Again, there's a reason why Crawford pursued Canelo Alvarez. You guys got to start thinking rationally here. There's a reason why he told Turkey, I want the Canelo fight. You know what I'm saying? He had to convince Canelo to take the fight. And so did Turkey Al-Sheikh and everybody else that took a lot of money as well. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford believed in himself from the beginning, guys. It's that simple. He said no rehydration clauses. You don't have to drain yourself. These are testament to the fact that Crawford knew what was going to happen before it even happened. And then Crawford told you what was going to happen, guys. You understand? And then he's like, you know what? Are you going to be a nobody too? What happens when I stump a mud hole in your butt? You know what I'm saying? And everything he said, he said, I'm different. And Canelo said, you're not different. You understand? This happened in the fight pressers early on for the promotion of this fight. And it's just funny how Crawford has the ability to do this. Have you guys noticed that? You know what I'm saying? He can call it out. He's just like he did Errol Spence. He said, they're going to say that you stayed at the weight class too long. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to tell you, the way he's able to do these things, call them out before they happen, then it happens the way he even says. You guys got to start considering these things. And, some of us on this channel, it's the same deal. I put my prediction a year. It was last year, August 2024. It's still on my channel. Go listen to it. You understand? Tell me how accurate it is. It's weird how some of us know these things. And guys like you to this day, your only reprisal, your only way of getting back at this is to create some false reality that not even the fighter that you're trying to defend backs you up or agrees with you. I will say this, if they do rematch, it will be a lot easier for Terrence Crawford. That's without question. Canelo already showed you in this fight that he didn't believe in himself. Canelo has really showed you his whole career. He's the exact opposite of a guy like Terrence Crawford. You have a guy who believes in themselves, you know what I'm saying? And you have a guy who doesn't believe in himself. And that was probably the big reason why Crawford was able to do what he did versus Canelo Alvarez. Again, we've beaten this dead horse so many times, it's not even funny at this point. But Crawford, we spoke about this again, how the boxing world tried to cut him out. Andre Ward said they tried to bury him. This is what the world does. And you're really not trying to discredit Terrence Crawford at the end of the day. You're really just trying to discredit God. This is the way of the world. This is how the world grooms individuals to be. This is how the world wants people to join its cause. You know what I'm saying? This is nothing new. This is not a new story at all. This is just a rerun upon rerun upon rerun. The world wants you to think that Canelo's the winner, but at the end of the day, it's guys like Terrence Crawford that are the true winners in this battle. But again, This is just you guys being influenced and operating something that's always been operating pretty much since the beginning of mankind. And it's never going to stop till the Lord my God does come back and ends all this nonsense. But you guys are just doing precisely the only thing you know how to do. You don't believe in yourselves. These are all projections. You don't have confidence in yourselves. You guys only feel good in a group. You have to uplift each other, things like that. Just like Canelo, none of you really know how to stand on your own 2 feet. And it's quite sad and pathetic, but at the same token, I don't really fault you for it. It's just further showing you precisely, you guys are the way you are for a reason, and you chose to be this way. And again, Canelo's not even backing you guys up with your opinions. You know what I'm saying? You want to get Canelo destroyed, and go ahead and push Canelo, convince him that he should take the rematch. But I haven't seen any evidence yet that Canelo does want to take the rematch, and he believes any of the stuff that you guys are putting in my comment section, all the videos that I'm seeing, how it was a close fight and it was a draw, and Madrimov beat Crawford as well. We're already past that point, right? You know what I'm saying? You guys, you're just everywhere right now, and a lot of you, again, I think you should take a break from this fight and focus on yourselves. You know what I'm saying? You're just perpetuating division. You're perpetuating lawlessness. You're perpetuating the foolishness of this world, man. It's just that simple. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.